going to start our side event. The project on this side event is toward the private sector lead African energy transition. I think that the COP 14 right now is one pivotal COP because this is the COP oriented action, and we want to discuss with this panel about the role of the private sector in the climate transition. And we have here in the panel very high personality in this panel. We have the honor to have Abdullah Maqsad, who is the Secretary General of IPCC. We have also, we are waiting for the Peter Odengo, who is the India of the Kenya, and also the President of the ASDAN, the platform of the Green Climate Fund. We have Konga is the focal point of Togo in regarding the carbon price market. And also we have here Robert is the coordinator of BICRAP in Kenya. I think that we have to start with Mr. Moxit. You know, Mr. Moxit, you are very famous in the process of climate change. And you know that right now we are in the COP13, and the COP13 is oriented action. What do you think about the role of the private sector, please? Because right now the private sector is not involved really in the process. And we want to see some concrete action in the ground. And you know that private sector can help to concretize the action in the ground. We have the floor.
Thank you very much, dear brother Mohammed Dibo. And he said I am famous. I'm not famous as I said to be. He is famous. And it is like a mirror. What's the class me? What's the class me? So, this is a question about the private sector. I will be direct from that. IPCC is not doing research, it is assessing research. So we are only studies that are published. But we related to climate change, related to involvement of every actor, including the private sector. If we have paper, reviewed paper, IPCC has the obligation to assess them. This is something. But how to deal with this? Because it was, I will highlight few aspects. Now, we concluded 6th cycle of IPCC. And we approved the Secretary for Policy Monitor on 2023 in Switzerland and Sri Lanka. Now we start the 7th cycle. And what is really interesting for 6th cycle as recommendation and conclusion? 6th cycle comes with 3 aspects. The first one is the warning. The warning that climate change is real. The negative impact can hit any country, developing transition world, and everywhere in the world. This is the warning. So no discussion about the warning. Then the other aspect was hope. Existing, we have the hope. And why the hope? And this will be connected to the climate sector. The hope is that we demonstrated that many techniques, many options are existing, and they demonstrate that when we use it to reduce emission of climate change, not only this, if we are using renewable, all the aspects, we can transform climate change to climate change. This is the hope. This means those techniques were demonstrated to be feasible, and also with some possibility with less funds. But we have the warning, we have the hope, but we have challenges. And the major challenges are connected to the finance, to the capacity of country to have the finance necessary to implement those measures. The challenges also are related to capacity building, are related to technology transfer. And here also the private can say something. And this is why I think the challenges were there, and we detected challenges, how we can use this improvement of access to the finance, and improvement of access to technology, and improvement to have access to capacity building. What is the concrete solution is we took those solutions learned for 6 cycles and we started by 7 cycles. And the first 7 cycle, what we did is now we are, already in the beginning of the 3rd year of a 7 cycle, and we already approved the outline. And what is related to the team of this side event is for the first time in the history of IPCC, we have chapters dealing with finance and dealing with private sector. Because we want to deal with challenges coming from 6 cycles and how we include them in the outline of 7 cycle. That means we will have a team of lead authors who will deal with the chapter about finance, who will deal with chapter about private sector action. This is it is sort of revolution. This is in a timely with your and I am inviting you to the classroom to see to wait for the draft to come for this chapter, and we will have enough information about this aspect of finance and private sector. I will stop here, and I think it is enough. And I will give back the micro to the famous Mahmoud Dinko.
Do you speak French?
Thank you very much, Mr. Maxim. I think that it is a great advice that IPCC again on chapter of finance and private sector, because it is timely, because right now the process of the implementation of the Paris Agreement needs to be connected to the key stakeholders. And the stakeholders is private sector, but also the local government. And I want to give the floor to my brother Robert, that can give us the link between one flagship initiative, BICRA, and the private sector in the process. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mohamed, for the invitation to be part of this process. And to our colleagues from the IPCC, I'm also honored to be with you in this panel, where we can draw the connection of what science and practice then implies in the climate change conversation, particularly when we are handling the issue of cities, climate change nexus. And I would wish to just flag out that one of the issues that we have dealt with during the negotiations as a negotiator with the African group of negotiators is the aspect of deals of implementation. And the issue of deals of implementation that draws on the key subject matter of finance, technology transfer, and capacity building. It cannot come at a better time to say what the needs that we are looking for then comes in, and which is of course influenced or supported by the science, which comes from the IPCC report. So as we move into the second assessment cycle, having come from the sixth assessment cycle, then how are we packaging ourselves to ensure that this process is well aligned and in tandem with all the processes that we are looking towards. So what I mean here is that the second assessment report is a good thing for us, because it is for the first time bringing out a clear report on the special report on cities. And the program that I want to link, which I've been asked to speak about in terms of connection, is a city-wide program. that addresses the plight of the vulnerable communities at the city level. So the issue of building climate resilient will be never put as an initiative, which is not just an initiative, but a global initiative by the UN Secretary General, which Kenya and Brazil have been tasked to lead the process of development. And in the process, we are looking at the aspect of both the space and the people. So how to get resilience of the space where the vulnerable communities exist at the city level, which then can reduce their vulnerability in terms of the exposure. But again, how then do we empower the people so that they can recover from shocks and stresses? So that looks at the empowerment side of the program and the people in connection with the grassroots, where tangible interventions are then put into practice. And so in between is the economy. So with that economy, we are able to get the empowerment required to address the plight of the space in terms of the space vulnerability, in terms of the resources required to build the resilience from the infrastructure perspective, the resilient infrastructure, the human settlement perspective, the resilient green affordable housing, which then can support the urban poor neighborhoods and the urban poor people in this location. But at the same time, the better economy can also create the green jobs that are needed, getting the green economy, green jobs, and livelihood strategies, which then cautions the people against the shocks and stresses arising from the climate change and vast climate change effects. But then the economy here is where the private sector comes in, and this is the point that I want to raise. But with the public resources, which of course are not enough globally, then the role of private sector then becomes critical in terms of tapping into their innovation and again, trying to grow the economy in a way that the green jobs can then thrive among the communities at the city level and among the other poor communities. And so the role of the private sector, I can say, is then critical, that we have to emphasize about it. It has to be motivated and it has to be targeted in a way that it then drives the three aspects that we are looking forward to support the aspect of the means of implementation. So with that, therefore, we see the clear connection in terms of the kind of the green jobs that then the private sector will be motivated to generate to support the urban poor communities within our cities.
Thank you very much for to highlight the role of the private sector regarding vulnerable person and also in the urban poor area of the city. I want to switch to Ibu, the expert in carbon market. I want to check the question. The question is, carbon market can play a very great role regarding the economy. How do you see the private sector in this process of carbon market?
Votre question est pertinente, très importante par rapport à la mise en œuvre des constructions déterminées au niveau national de nos pays. Il y a peut-être le rôle du secteur privé dans la mobilisation des ressources pour permettre à nos pays de mettre en œuvre de façon efficace, de façon efficiente, de façon claire et transparente nos contributions déterminées au niveau national. Nous avons besoin du secteur privé. Le secteur privé est le seul par lequel nous pouvons mettre en œuvre nos contributions déterminées au niveau national. Pourquoi? Vous savez, les marchés carbone, c'est le business. Qui parle de marché carbone, parle de business. Et qui parle de business, parle d'investissement. Donc, ça, le secteur privé peut investir dans la mise en œuvre des programmes projets ayant des capacités de réduction d'émissions de gaz à effet de serre, tout en renforçant nos résiliences, parce que nous sommes
etc., nous vivons des impacts négatifs des changements climatiques. Donc nous avons besoin de renforcement de capacité de résilience pour pouvoir aller vers le développement et le développement. Mais tout en contribuant suffisamment à la mise en œuvre de l'accord de Paris, qui est la premiation des émissions de gaz à effet de serre. Donc le mécanisme carbone, c'est un canal qui peut permettre à nos pays, si nous arrivons à bien structurer nos projets dans le cadre de la mise en œuvre de ces projets, ça va faire un emploi. Nous, en tant que pays en développement de l'Afrique, nous devons avoir une vision positive et une vision négative de l'Afrique. Cela peut être emploi. Nos pays ont la capacité, en termes de déforestation ou bien de gestion de la déforestation, pour dire que désormais, nous ne pouvons pas ouvrir ce secteur au secteur privé en termes de mobilisation des écosystèmes. Mais les autres secteurs, ayant de forts transferts de technologie, ayant des investissements lourds, comme le secteur de l'énergie, comme le secteur de l'électricité, comme le secteur de pétrole, on a besoin nécessairement du secteur privé. C'est le secteur privé qui peut venir mettre en œuvre des initiatives en termes de mise en œuvre de beaucoup d'investissements, de mobilisation d'investissements pour permettre de répondre à nos engagements. Parce que on se vient au-delà de contribuer à atteindre nos émissions, c'est aussi une politique qui doit nous permettre d'aller vers la création de la communauté, d'aller vers l'amélioration des conditions de vie de nos populations, d'aller vers le renforcement de la résilience de nos populations. Donc le secteur privé a un rôle fondamental. En ce moment-là, il nous faut, nous, en tant qu'État, le gouvernement, de revoir nos arrangements institutionnels, de revoir nos arrangements politiques et de revoir nos arrangements politiques pour permettre à ce secteur privé de jouer son rôle, de jouer sa partition dans la mise en œuvre de construction du développement. Dans le cadre de la mise en œuvre du développement. Lorsqu'il est décrit le secteur privé reste un maillon incontournable pour la mise en œuvre de nos constructions du développement.
I think that thank you very much because you highlight, the importance of private sector regarding carbon market. And I am agree with you because right now we are in the COP 30, and the COP 30 is the COP-oriented action. And the carbon market is the pillar to strengthening and to accelerate the implementation of the Paris Agreement. We are talking right now about the Industry 3.0. And Industry 3.0 is the result of the stocktake. Don't forget that, because the stocktake that we had in COP in Dubai, I think that we called for more operationalized the carbon market process. And I am agreeing to mobilize the finance private sector is the key for moving forward regarding this process. I am going to give for each one minute to complete. I start with not just one word.
Really, I want to take all this one minute, but maybe I will introduce what we have now to do with one concept. One concept is how we deal with climate change. What we are dealing with extreme events. And now I'm inviting you to think about what is the role of the private sector to this concept. The concept is the concept of vigilance. In the past, we were not able to be vigilant because we were living to go down. Because we were able to adapt. sure. Now, with the acceleration of the extreme events and with the regulatory impact, we are having all of us should be vigilant. But the vigilance is collective. To be vigilant, you should have the capacity to have the best information system. To be vigilant, you should have the capacity to react. And to be vigilant, you should have the capacity to prevent. And this has been, this machines really helped by private sector and finance and so on. It's like we should transform ourselves to a sort of a climate commando. Because you know the commando is someone who has best information system, has capacity to react, and has capacity to prevent. This is the first concept. The second concept, which is also in the many with private sector, is the time, the past. We have the abundance of resources. I'm speaking about water resources. Many countries, many cities, they have enough water to drink. Now with the extended events, this abundance is not there. This is why we should use the concept of going from the abundance to the intermittence. This is also which is trying to have model of how we can manage the intermittence. How, for example, Casablanca in Morocco, in case there is enough water for to drink, the authorities should be helped to have a model to take decisions. And also, the last concept I want to share with you is the private sector can participate, how we can implement what we call climate resilient development. How we can transform climate change and climate change. And climate resilient development, which is the way that by tackling climate change, by reducing emissions, we are also improving quality of life. I can give an example. If in one country, one city like Casablanca with pollution, if we strive to reduce the emission, if we install renewable energy, if we use this electric vehicle, we are not only reducing emissions, we are also improving the quality of life of the population. The policeman in the roundabout will breathe good air and so on. And by using, as we said, circular economy, green economy, we are not only tackling climate change, we are also improving the quality of life. We are creating jobs and also we are increasing wealth. And I hope that I didn't exceed my minute.
It's always a pleasure, to have Mr. Maxim and my country is very key that we build the connection of also. Robert.
Thank you. Yes, in summary, I would wish to say that as we pick the conversation, because we came from Baku in COP29, now we are in COP30. And the main issue, I remember, even from the African perspective, we participated in the launch of the Pan-African private sector justice and transition processes. And this is one way of seeing how then to galvanize the process of the involvement of the private sector. And if these groups then can be strengthened, and their role well integrated, as already was alluded to or communicated here by the IPC Secretary, in terms of the inclusion of the private sector role in the climate conversation, then this then will amplify the action and will then support the process of mobilizing additional resources that are then required for taking the targeted interventions at the grassroots level. And so the issue of governance, effective governance framework that then enhances cooperation and partnerships then becomes a vital core in this conversation so that we see how the connecting the dots, how to connect the dots and then the convergence that are needed in light of getting the right, sources of the financing, the capacity process to work with the local communities and within the city framework, then the urban poor can also then find how they are integrated in the process of the empowerment process by involving them, not working for them, but by involving them in the process, then we can get a drastic solution out of the process.
Doctor,
Merci beaucoup, monsieur le président. Merci, pour conclure, je dirais que le secteur privé reste un pilier essentiel dans la mise en œuvre de l'accord de Paris. Le secteur privé, dans le cadre du mécanisme de marché, étant donné que c'est le business, il va falloir que nos États fassent le possible pour asseoir des politiques de stratégie. Les plans peuvent permettre aux secteurs privés de mener aisément des activités. Nos États doivent renforcer la collaboration entre qui est et les secteurs. Ça, c'est le premier élément. Le second élément, c'est de mettre en place des plateformes qui intègrent fondamentalement le secteur. Et troisièmement, c'est de renforcer la capacité du secteur privé sur tout ce qui est lié à la gestion de l'État, afin de leur permettre de l'intégrer dans leur politique interne. Sinon, le secteur privé, il a besoin de l'argent. Si on répond, ne lui permettent pas de venir mener des activités sur nos territoires et pouvoir tirer son bénéfice, et ça n'est plus des éléments. Le secteur a besoin de savoir d'avoir des garanties. Pour être sûr que quand les personnes, cela ne va pas lui créer des problèmes. C'est-à-dire qu'il faut limiter les risques pour le secteur privé. Donc la limitation des risques pour le secteur privé, merci de vie pour nos personnes. C'est ce mot que je voudrais encore vous remercier. Vous remercier d'avoir associé à ce projet. On va garder beaucoup. On pourra revenir. Nous sommes là au Bambou. On pourra revenir parler. Je vous remercie.
merci beaucoup. Parce que ce que vous avez dit était en ligne avec le professeur Maxime, la prévention, l'anticipation. Donc, il y a Robert, le retour à
I just wanted to add that the conversation that we are having in climate change conversation, the human settlement, recently, I want to also draw a connection just in summary that the president of Kenya is very passionate about the aspect of affordable housing, for example. And when we talk about building climate resistant development poor, one of the key aspects that we are looking also at the settlement processes. And so the greening of the human settlement also fits into this global process. And so in the recently concluded 8th session of the United Nations General Assembly, President Ruto galvanized the global community to rally behind the global championship of affordable housing. And of course, with the aim of actualizing the right to adequate housing for all. And so this is an area where not all government will achieve this kind of programs and projects, but a lot of private sector involvement then comes in. Developers are all the people who can deliver this kind of project. So the other issue that the World Green Economy Organization is also promoting the decarbonizing of cities is also a critical link that then links with this conversation. And when we talk of decarbonizing cities, then the aspect of the built environment becomes critical, and then how then do we get into low carbon development pathways within the built environment, then that reduces the greenhouse gas emission. So these are the connections that then we are seeing how then we connect the dots, but then again we look at the perspective of the private sector involvement that then supplement or complement the role of the various governments across the globe.
Just something, because you said that I am the doyen. You're right. But the world, the doyen is your view. Okay, fine.